Greetings, my friends. Thank you for watching this video, and if you would be so kind, please subscribe if you like what you see. Help our channel to keep growing and keep fighting the war to save pop culture. Together, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy. Enjoy, and thanks. Greetings, my friends. I am Director Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and on this day, when another icon of cinematic masculinity has been sacrificed on the altar of wokeness in No Time to Die, I'm here today to share the latest I've heard about the rumored demise of yet another masculine icon in Kathleen Kennedy's latest hatchet job, Indiana Jones 5. Recently, yet another of my rumor reports was vindicated when a number of mainstream media sources picked up on a story I had reported 2 months earlier, a story leaked to me from a source on set, claiming that Kathleen Kennedy had terrible plans for Indiana Jones 5, namely, that at the end of the film, Indy would be dead and Phoebe Waller-Bridge would inherit the hat and whip and become the series lead in the franchise moving forward. At that time, I was leaked some details from a draft of the script, but now a new source has come forward, a source that has been verified as credible by my Hollywood spies, with new details from a more current revised script. And let me tell you, my friends, if this source is correct, as the last one was, this isn't good. In this video, I offer you an update on the status of that script, along with a new on-set picture leaked from the production, and I analyze a comment about these rumors from none other than the director of Indiana Jones 5, Steven Spielberg. No, wait, that's right. Spielberg isn't directing this one, is he? How can it be an Indiana Jones movie, you ask, without Steven Spielberg directing? Short answer, it can't be. But all that said, this is what I've been told. At this point, I must tell you that this is information provided to me by a source who claims to have knowledge of the situation. But since I cannot independently verify this information for myself, I must present this as unverified rumor and ask you to please take it with a grain of salt. This source claims to have read one of the latest drafts of Indiana Jones 5. Apparently, there are a number of drafts floating around as Kennedy desperately tries to nail down a final version, and this particular draft has some very interesting details in common with the first one leaked to me. In this draft, the movie is based firmly around Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Instead of being Indy's assistant, she's an up-and-coming reporter with a nose for a hot lead. This comes as no surprise, since in Kennedy's universe, it's unforgivable for any woman to be a man's assistant. Much better for the purpose of agenda to turn Phoebe Waller-Bridge into an independent crusading journalist, right? 'Cause, you know, bestest ever, and all that. Phoebe mysteriously receives some mail with a picture of an artifact and one word which she can't read. These clues lead her investigation to a college we are all familiar with. It is there that she first hears about this archaeologist instructor, a certain Dr. Jones. Turns out Dr. Jones has retired. She manages in her plucky girl reporter way to track Indy down and ask him about the photo. Not only does Indy know the artifact, he actually found it in his younger days. Regarding the mysterious word, Indy has seen it before, but he doesn't know what it means either. Together, they go to where Indy knows the artifact is kept, and this is where a group of men attack them in order to steal the artifact. The thieves manage to escape with the artifact, but not before Phoebe Waller-Bridge kills one of them. Indy doesn't kill him, Phoebe does. Because, you know, she's the bestest ever! And this is her series, after all, moving forward, if these rumors are true. And from this description, it seems plausible. Indy grabs the dead man's wallet, then together Indy and Phoebe pursue the rest of the thieves, hoping to retrieve this artifact. They follow the thieves to Stonehenge, where they witness the men perform a ritual that opens a portal. The men disappear into the portal, and the last one who goes into the portal turns around, revealing his face, and at this point the source speculates that this is the character played by Antonio Banderas. The man slips into the portal, and is it Indiana Jones that bravely pursues him? No, it's Phoebe Waller-Bridge who jumps into the portal without hesitation, and in the words of my source, Indiana reluctantly follows her. Reluctantly. Because naturally, as we all know, Indiana Jones is a very cautious and prudent fellow when it comes to putting himself in danger, as like almost unto a coward, right? Fucking hell. Did this writer ever even watch an Indiana Jones movie? So on the other side of the portal, turns out they've gone back in time to World War II, just as in the previous draft. And we have seen behind-the-scene pictures of World War II tanks and so on, so that tends to lend credence to this reportage from my source. There's a scene where Indiana Jones and Phoebe Waller-Bridge are trying to sneak around gathering information, and they are found when Indy clumsily bumps into something. Right. It's not Phoebe that bumps something and then blows their cover. No, it's Indy. Since unlike a girl reporter, Indy isn't very good at physical stuff like balance and sneaking around and shit. So they are captured and placed in a deadly trap, of course, and just as they're about to be killed, they're saved by young Indiana Jones. That's right. In this other draft, the source claims they've kept this section of the story where old Indy meets deep-fake young Indy. So what else are they going to do but team them up to defeat these time-traveling enemies? At this point, my source skips ahead to the ending, which is just awful. So our Indy, the old Indy, is wounded. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is tending to his wounds. Meanwhile, Antonio Banderas and young Indy are fighting. Antonio Banderas puts some kind of device on young Indy, who promptly vanishes. Just as young Indy disappears, a whip wraps around Antonio Banderas and Indy yanks on it, sending Banderas over the edge of a cliff or chasm, and he falls to his death. At this point, old Indy makes everyone in the theater retch. Old Indy places his hat on Phoebe Waller-Bridge's head, and he says, "It's up to you now. You have to find him." And he dies. The end credits is, according to this source, Phoebe Waller-Bridge capering around as they play the Raiders of the Lost Ark theme, to be continued on Disney+. There was a lot more information here, but the level of detail was such that my Hollywood spies were worried about protecting this source's identity, so we decided to leave out any details that were too specific and might out our source. So the question here is this still an accurate depiction of the final script they're shooting? After all, they could have changed things given the delay in shooting necessitated by Harrison Ford's injury. In my experience, a top-to-bottom revision at this point of the game is highly unlikely. They may tweak things, they may add and delete scenes, but in all probability, the gist of the thing remains more or less the same, no matter the delay. Ultimately, it boils down to this. Will it simply be a bad movie, or will it be a damn disgrace? If Phoebe Waller-Bridge becomes the star of the franchise moving forward, it's a damn disgrace, and I urge every fan of Indiana Jones to avoid this film and the subsequent series like a biblical plague of ultimate suck. Because without respect, we reject, and there's nothing at all respectful about turning Indiana Jones into a sidekick in his own movie. The interesting thing about this is, my friend and ally Stephanie Janisek's Smuggler's Cantina, a great YouTuber you should check out, does not believe these rumors, and she pointed to this piece of evidence that seemingly refutes these rumors, a tweet by Director James Mangold responding to a direct question from a fan. Here's how the exchange went. Whose idea was it to replace Harrison Ford with Phoebe Waller-Bridge at the end of the new Indiana Jones 5? Yours or Kathleen Kennedy? Disney Plus TV show with Phoebe Waller-Bridge as the new Indiana Jones? Say it ain't so. To which Mangold replied, answer to Q1, nobody's idea. Answer to Q2, neither. Answer to your snarky last sentence, don't be so gullible, to clickbait. And yet, 2 months after my reporting, the other mainstream media sources latched onto this same story from their own sources on set and reported this 2 months after I did. So, in general, where there's smoke, there's fire. But it's a very interesting tweet, and I think we should discuss it. So Mangold denies that Phoebe Waller-Bridge will be taking Indy's place in the franchise, which can mean several things. One, he's telling the truth, and during the production hiatus, the public response to this idea being horror and disgust, they have decided to revise the ending to let Indy stay Indy and send Phoebe packing at the end, just as with the No Time to Die reshoots, they toned down the wokeness and the cucking of James Bond. That's one option. The other option is Mangold is prevaricating here, which happens with directors in Hollywood. Remember when Jar Jar Abrams lied and said Benedict Cumberbatch's character in Star Trek Into Darkness wasn't Khan? Turned out that bald-faced statement was total bullshit. And remember when Kevin Smith lied, saying He-Man was going to be the star of Masters of the Universe? He-Man got killed twice in that show, and Teela was the star. So take all of this with a grain of salt. But let's hope that neither of the drafts I've reported on are final drafts, that sanity will prevail, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge will be out of the hat and whip business. From the center of the earth, this is Director Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.
Ha 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 ha.